Welcome to Powerboat Talk, the podcast where we talk everything performance boats with your host, Joe Road.
Before we get started today, I wanted to give a quick shout out to some companies that are helping to support our fast boat community. This episode is brought to you by Freedom and Fuel clothing brand, made for people who love big horsepower, fuel burning engines. It doesn't matter if you're into hot rods, off-road, side-by-sides, or of course, fast boats. Freedom and Fuel has a gear to match your passion for power and performance. You can find Freedom and Fuel clothing at all ADBA and NJBA drag boat races at the SoCal Jet Boats trailer or online at freedomandfuel.com. This episode is sponsored by West Coast River Outlaws. West Coast River Outlaws is a fast-growing media and marine services company built around supporting people who love fast boats. They create epic content and run an online retail hub. And they've also officially opened their repair and service shop in Arlington, Texas. Whether you need a new boat, help with a project, or action shots on the water, connect with them. You can find West Coast River Outlaws on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at WCRO Media or online at westcoastriveroutlaws.com. Welcome to Powerboat Talk. Today I'm on with drag racer Tyler Speer. Actually, second of a two-part series here. So we spoke with Tyler actually at the beginning of last season, and just backlog and stuff, never really got it out. So I put that out last week, and so thought it'd be good to do a follow-up so we stay up to date with what Tyler's up to. So yeah, Tyler, thanks for coming back on. The last we talked, we're getting ready for the season. So how'd the season go? What were the ups and downs? And tell us about it.
It was, there's always ups and downs to every season, right? Yeah, I appreciate you having me back on. And it was a very eventful season. We ended 2024 in a place where we thought we'd be able just to pick up and take off in 25. And right out of the gate, we made a left-hand turn and decided to change a bunch of stuff in the off season. Well, some of that didn't work out. Some of it did. And so we had to kind of relearn a lot of things with this injected nitro boat, and worked on the clutch a lot beginning half of the season, started to get that dialed in, and then had to relearn the fuel curve. And, again, Randy Meyer helped out all year on getting this thing, get us a good baseline. And some of the cars to the boat stuff is a little bit different. So, of course, we had to learn a lot of stuff. In the last 2 years, we've learned a ton. And by the end of the season, we ended up coming in second in points with SDBA and third in points with KDBA. Ended up being an awesome season. Last race at Wheatland, Lucas Oil Speedway, we ended up sweeping the weekend, had an ET record, ran a 4:22, and then ended up coming back and number one qualifier, of course, and then won the event. So started off rough and ended in a pretty good swing at the end. So of course we're going back through everything again. Not going to make the same mistakes we made at the beginning of 25, but we're going to go back through and see if we can't lighten the Georgia Outlaw boat up a little bit, and see if we can't reset our own record here at the beginning of 26.
Now the record is, as we talked about before, you compete. It's an A Fuel boat,
yes.
Naturally aspirated, but you compete with the top alcohol hydros, right? So that ET record is basically a top alcohol hydro record, right?
Correct. Yep. So we're the only ones that are running the A Fuel. We decided to try it, and beginning of 23 is when we started to try to put this thing together. And again, Randy's who gave us our baseline from the car side. We just always saw, of course, boats love, they have a bunch of load all the time. That's natural characteristics of a boat, going uphill all day, every day. So, if you look on the car side with NHRA, the top alcohol A Fuel guys, wouldn't say dominate, but they're pretty much up there pretty frequently. So we decided, since nobody's trying it in the boat world, we would try it. And we spent 23 with a single prop. We tried it, and then we decided to go over to dual prop in 2024. And then that's what we've just been relearning. And it is a crazy animal to tune. It's even the top fuel stuff that we did. This is this is a lot different on how it works and how we try to get the load and the tune up right. It's a very, very finicky and temperamental animal to handle.
Yeah. When I going back through the last episode, listening to it recently, like I forgot how in depth you go in. It's pretty cool. All the challenges you've had with the naturally aspirated motor and the nitro. And so go back if you want to hear a lot of really good details about that. Go back over through the last episode. Tyler really gets into that, so it's pretty cool. So
yeah, yep.
Now you said you made change. Was a clutch the big change you made that kind of set you back, or?
So we decided to do some clutch changes, and we ended up. After the first race in Paris, Texas, we actually scrapped the whole entire clutch program and went to something completely different. Just a different style of clutch in general. And of course, so all the notes we had from 24 changed. And, if anybody that's ever played with nitro will tell you it's a very sensitive to load. So your whole tune-up is based off of load. So then once you get that changes all of your load. And then so you have to go back through the whole thing and try to figure it out. And, it basically we started back over essentially in the beginning of 25 is what happened. So it was we learned a lot. We kind of know what to do now if we ever make some of these changes again, but it was one of those things that set us back a little bit up front, but at the end I think it helped out a lot.
Yeah. And I would imagine you were just chasing a little more performance, or?
Yeah, I mean, we ran the best we'd run in 2024 was a 438, and that's not really going to get it done. Rick Allen and Andy, they're down into the, and Marty, when he was running, they were down into the, they would bump into the 20s, sometimes low 20s, 420s and 430s. So I needed a high 430 was just not close enough for us. We wanted more. So naturally we started searching and we ended up finding it. Just took a little bit longer than anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, just crazy. I think we talked about it last time too, that when you're running those big inch fast motors, nitro blowers, I mean, every tweak just turns into, it's like pulling a thread out of a shirt, right? And you never know. Sometimes it's going to just cut off and go, but probably most of the time it leads some more, right?
Yeah, and we're now getting to the point where we kind of know what we're looking for, and again, it's not like we can go talk to anybody else about this. We just have the car side, and the boat and the load and the rest of the stuff is just so different. Trying to get it dialed in, trying to get it handled has been we understand why nobody else does it and why we're the only ones doing it right now, but I think there's a lot of potential in it. I think there's a lot of extra power in places and things that we haven't played with yet. So we had Fuel Tech that jumped on board the beginning of 2025, and that's been a pretty big help as far as the data logging side and some of the fuel management stuff that they've got. So it's been nice, and it's really nice that they're only 15 minutes up the street here near us. So all that makes it pretty nice to be able to talk to them, and if I needed to, I can take the boat up there, and they've helped a good bit. So
yeah, oh, nice. And have you had, has anybody else approached you about, hey, we're thinking about doing the same thing? Any more people this year or no?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's been probably about 3 or 4 people that have come up and said they're building one. You have to kind of see it. I think it's longer term plans, but yeah, there are a couple teams that say they're putting them out there, and I'm like, the more the merrier. Come on, I want to see if I'm doing it right or wrong.
Right. And you still feel obviously a big advantage of doing it naturally aspirated is it's a lot easier on the equipment. You still, after another year, you still feel like it's worth the extra trouble.
For sure.
The tuning.
We've got we've for sure. I mean, we've setting the record was one part of it, and of course it's showing a lot of signs in a lot of different areas of not only the running cost, the maintenance cost, a lot of things. I mean, I think when we set the record, our RPM, I mean, it's still in the 6,000s range. I mean, we're not even bumping 7. So I mean, it's been pretty wild on how efficient it is down low and how much torque these things actually make.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah,
good for you. So big changes over the last year. I think last time I saw you out in public, you were at PRI.
Yep.
I don't know if you were part of the promotion, but you were there, obviously talking to the new guys at IHRA who have bought up about everything but Chevrolet. And let's talk about your plans for 2026 and give us your perspective on IHRA. I mean, we've seen this before, right? I mean, we had Lucas come in and did a lot of stuff for a lot of years, and I think we're all excited but a little apprehensive, right?
Yeah, and I think everybody's pretty much in the same boat. no pun intended. But it's one of those things where it's just the sport needs something like IHRA. Really, the best years, in my opinion, of drag boat racing was when Lucas stepped in, and even though they walked away, a lot of people are apprehensive about it. It still was the best 10, 15 years that we've ever had in drag boat racing. So while there are negative sides to if it doesn't work out or whatever happens, I mean, at the end of the day, you just got to enjoy the ride. So the sport needs to bump back up. We definitely, we had MAV TV for a long time there, up until maybe a year or two ago when they got bought out by Racer TV. So having it come back to a media platform and having something to where it's televised again, that's to us and our team, that's a huge advantage. Not only that, but bringing the from what they've done on the car side and that kind of thing so far seems really good. I know that they've got they have some growing pains. I'm sure they're going to have some personnel things they're going to have to figure out, but just in general, to have somebody that's going to step back up and try to at least bring it back to a Lucas kind of level that we had in the past, and hopefully beyond that, I think is the sport definitely needs it. So yeah, everybody's going to be apprehensive naturally after Lucas kind of pulled out and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, you got to kind of look at the good over the bad. It was you might as well enjoy the ride and ride it out. And if it lasts for 25 years, then awesome. If it lasts for 2, still, it's better kind of than what we've had in the last, in my opinion, the last probably 5 years, 6 years since Lucas stepped away. So again, we haven't had our first race yet, but and I'm sure there's going to be growing pains, but at the end of the day, I think just the press notoriety and their payout purses going back up and that kind of thing is definitely going to help the racer at the end of the day. And that's all you can ask for as a team and a racer.
And you mentioned the new media coverage. I think they were going to live stream everything on Speed Sport.
Yes. Yeah. And Speed Sport 1 from 1 or 2, I guess. So I haven't got all the details about all of that yet, but yeah, I mean, everything we do is supposed to be Speed Sport 1 or Speed Sport 2. So which will be great.
And I know that they came in early on the offshore side. And from what I understand at Key West, they had a big payout for offshore, and they were at the end of the race, they were there with the table and they were handing people cash, and it was all good. It was pretty seamless at that point. So you have to, I mean, that's so far as the proof of the concept so far. So you have to all stay on board with that. But
so far between the media and the purse payouts, everything seems to be jiving. So there has been a lot of talk, rumors, all kinds of other stuff as far as, long-term plans and, as far as, what their goal is and stuff on moving things around as far as personnel. But anytime that they've got their hands, I think, in so many things right now, that they're going to probably have all kinds of personnel changes and stuff happen. So, yeah, I mean, we'll have to take it one day at a time and see how it goes. That's all you can do.
I mean, the expansion they've done between racetracks and organizations, and I mean, you can't do all that kind of stuff without having. There's going to be some rough patches, and it's. I think it's sad though. Like I was scrolling the other day like a dumbass, but apprehension's okay. Like y'all have to kind of play devil's advocate and be prepared. Like make sure because in the marine industry especially, man, we've had some knuckleheads come and go,
Ups
right?
And downs.
Right. And we've had some real knuckleheads that are going to come in, write a couple big checks, and they're going to change the world. And they're the only ones that know anything about it. None of us do, and they usually don't work out. But I hope everybody. I know they've had some personnel changes, which you're going to have. You got a new. I don't know what the lady is, Leah Martin. I don't know if she's a CEO or what she is, but I mean, she ran. Give her some time but people that go on every time they see something and it's doom and these people are idiots. I'm like, come on, man, they're writing checks for boat racing. Like, give them a break, give them some time. Yep. Who else has done that in the last few years? Very few people.
Right. Yeah. I think, like I said, on the drag boat scene, the biggest thing we had for a long time was Lucas Oil. So they, Forrest and Morgan and the whole Lucas family did a lot for drag boat racing. And, it was the same kind of deal, right? I mean, whenever they left, a lot of people bashed at all kinds of things, but I mean, look at the rides that we take already for just a few seconds of fun. I mean, they stuck in there for 10, 15 years, so, you just got to enjoy it. And I mean, yeah, you can have your guard up and be apprehensive for sure. I mean, that's a natural human instinct, right? But um, again, who else is behind door number 2 to do this? So
Right. Right.
we'll just have to see how it plays out and see what happens for 26.
Right. So 26. So what's your schedule like? Are you running their whole IHRA schedule? Are you running other stuff? What are you guys planning for?
Yeah, we're pretty much planning on, I think, a first race is in Paris, Texas. And then from there, I think there's 6, possibly 7 races. But we're just running strictly the IHRA schedule. I don't think we're going to go out west really and do anything else that way. It's just from Georgia logistically is too far right now. If I think they were talking, there's one towards the end of the year that's a TBD. So I don't know if that's a Phoenix Park, or I don't know if that's a West Coast race. But even if they have one out there, I mean, we'll go, to whatever the IHRA deal is, their whole circuit. So that's our plan for 26, and stick with the A Fuel. A lot of people have asked, because Top Fuel's coming back, if we were going to run Top Fuel, and we might maybe start looking at stuff in 27, but there's no. We just figured out A Fuel, so we're gonna figure out and try to win a championship in top alcohol first, and we are in the middle of trying to build a couple new boats and that kind of thing. So we're working on some new things and some new venture stuff for us personally as a team. So we'll see what happens, but we're just trying to gear up for 26 and hopefully beyond. Depending on IHRA and how everything works out and what the future holds.
Yeah, and you foreshadowed me. That was going to be my next question, because I have heard that there's going to be a few more Top Fuel boats out. I mean, there's consensus. I don't know if it's reality. But consensus is that drag boat racing will never get to where it should be until there's Top Fuel boats out there.
Yeah, and I think that's the case. I hope they're not hoping for a bunch to show up right out of the gate, because I don't. I see 2 or 3 from talking to some of the teams that I've talked to that are going to be showing up. I don't see it being, they're not going to be 10 boats all of a sudden pull out of the woodwork. But we'll have to see how it goes. I mean, again, if they stick with it, with the purse payouts, and maybe if some partners come on board, I think they'll start pulling some more boats, some fuel boats that are mothballed out and that kind of stuff. And like I said, we're in the middle of trying to build 2 new boats too, on top of the one that we have. So we're trying to gear up a little bit, so we're not caught behind the wave, if you will, and see if we can ride it, and just trying to position ourselves on a team-wise and basis on trying to set it up properly. So we'll kind of see how it shakes out naturally, and but Fuel Boat is the thing that draws. I mean, it draws spectators.
You're so far into this project, right? You've been climbing this mountain with this A Fuel boat that you're not willing to walk away from it just yet. Maybe a season of undefeated, you might get bored and talk about something more, but at the point, it seems like you're on board for a while for this ride.
Yeah, we're definitely going to stick with it. Like I said, I mean, we were kind of a lame duck and struggled for the last 3 years, well, really 2 for twin props set up, but we really struggled for the last 3 years, and to, as soon as we get it, to step up and do something different, and the purses and everything they have that are they're pretty close to what Lucas Oil had for purses. So that part of it's awesome. But for the Top Fuel side, for us, for our team, to kind of reboot into it, is going to take a little bit. So it helped to run A Fuel for a little bit. It hasn't been too bad on parts. So we really haven't hurt many things. We hurt a couple crankshafts and that kind of stuff. But it's funny, the runs that it actually hurts all the parts are the bad runs. When it runs slow. When it runs fast, so far it don't hurt anything. We're just going to focus on that deal, at least for 26. And again, we're building some new things and going to do some other stuff maybe for 27. But we're not going to rush anything too quick yet. So.
Now you made mention of that last race out possibly out here in Phoenix or Arizona. What have you heard or want to share about the rumors that they're going to maybe bring back Firebird?
Yeah. So and I'm not 100% sure. Of course, this is all just chatter, which gossip travels
right.
boat race community. But I supposedly they've talked to him. I don't know. I was told at one point that they had to kind of know one way or the other. I thought it was the end of January, so I'm not sure if what they're looking at as far as venues. Um, I know there's been some talk on if that race doesn't happen, doing another race towards the end of the year. Um, and if they, it'd be awesome if we could go back out to Firebird. That's one track that I've never won at.
Mm.
I've runnered up there, but never got the win. And we've won most racetracks that we've gone to. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, I think the last time I runnered up was against Eddie Knox in 2017 in
Wow.
Fuel. And man, we were gone, and then it ended up just laying over, and he came by us right at the end. So,
Wow.
to go back there would be really something special. So hopefully it happens. I mean, it'd be awesome to go back there, but time will tell on all this stuff,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
on what shakes out. But I've heard also some other tracks that we're going to put in lieu of it.
Mm.
So I don't know for sure if that's something that they're going to be another race after the Wheatland race at the end of the year or not. But if there's Phoenix, that would be pretty cool. The only other thing, we've had a couple of schedule changes here. I mean, I think we've had 2 or 3 different schedule changes already, and, they're trying to figure it out. And they've had some management changes even in the drag boat
Mm-hmm.
world bar. So we'll see kind of how it shakes out and what happens. But, hopefully they don't, because everybody's got to, as far as team wise goes, everybody's got a plan for everything a year in advance, and some of the crew
Mm-hmm.
and everything. So to move schedules around constantly gets to be a little bit difficult on scheduling. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see if there's any other races added or changed here this
Yeah.
20 season. But it would be cool if we ended up going back to Firebird and racing it at least one more time.
Yeah, I don't know. From when they closed it, I mean, it seemed like it was pretty much a done deal. So, but well, I mean, hey, again, these guys they've moved some small mountains already. So
Yeah, I mean how many tracks and everything they bought. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if what else gets
yeah,
bought, moved, and done, and
yeah.
so we'll find out. Time will tell,
Yeah. I think I might not have been last year because I don't know if they started it last year at April's Fool, but I know one day there was a news release from IHRA and you scroll down, they're like, oh, we're not really doing anything today. Cause like every time you turn around, there's this news release from IHRA. What did they do and who they bought or who they hired. And yeah.
And I didn't, until PRI, I didn't realize how many things they had actually picked up and apart. I mean, they went through their list at PRI, and I'm like, holy cow. I mean, I knew of most of them, but I didn't know that they did the snowmobiles. I didn't know that, they got the stock car deal. There was so many things that they've got their hands in now. So we'll have to see how the management side of it goes, and, see how long and what it takes to kind of get their feet up underneath them on moving management wise. So, so far, I mean, I think pretty good. So we'll see what shakes out in the end.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I hope everybody's patient and, we don't look a gift horse and a mouse here and, shoot them before they have a chance to really get up and running. So.
Yep. Right. Yeah. Everybody. Yeah. And I mean, that's nature just to do that, plus, especially in the boat racing deal, as you well know, I mean, there's been a lot of things that come in that seem too good to be true too quick. And, a lot of times that happens and sometimes they work out, but, apprehension is a common thing. So we'll see how it goes at the end of the day. But all in all, I'm pretty excited for 2026. So, again, enjoy the short and or long ride, depending on how it goes,
Right. Yeah. Awesome. And, it wasn't like the alternative was like this big shiny penny, man.
Yeah, exactly. There's the amount of doors opened are very few, so you might as well go through that one. So
yeah. So hey, so you mentioned building a couple boats. Is that like a couple new boats for you guys to race or customer stuff?
Yeah. So just for us. So Jim Robertson, that used to own Warhawk boats out of Alabama, he does all of our layup stuff as far as the boat goes, and he retired, and we kind of got him out of retirement. He does hot rod cars now, but we kind of got him out of retirement from boats just to do our race boats for us, for our team only. And so he does an awesome job on the layup schedules and making the boats strong and light. and flexible all at the same time. So he's just a mastermind with fiberglass. So he just does strictly our race boat stuff, and it's for our in-house, for our team specifically. We don't really do anything to sell or anything else. That was kind of a requirement for him coming back. He's like, I'll do it for you, but so we're just, we're trying to, if all this goes through, there's a couple things, and even on the Top Fuel side that again, I don't know how much IHRA, knows from drag boats, but I've talked to a number of the teams. This is part of the reason that we're trying to build some second and third boats is, if you end up having problems with drive lines or underwater gear, I mean, to get these parts, it's not like there's a bunch of teams buying this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like NHRA or IHRA on the drag, Top Fuel side over there. There's parts that gets used up and consumed constantly. We don't have that on the boat side. So so some of those parts and pieces, they're one-off parts. And, like the bullet boats that Jim Dunn makes and our Ellison hulls that we make in-house, I mean, those run completely different underwater gear. I mean, a lot of things are just very different and specific to our boats. So to have these parts and pieces ready and available, I mean, if somebody breaks something midstream, and even in 2026, there's a chance they can't get stuff made quick enough to bounce back, to get to the next race. So if we go that route, we want to, and even for our A Fuel side, I mean, we're running the same running gear as a Top Fuel, what we ran over there. A lot of similarities. Some stuff is different, but a lot of things are similar. So we're just trying to set ourselves up so we do have spares and do have second. If something crazy happens and, we wreck a sponson or somehow something happens to the boat, we have other parts and pieces to move forward with. So we're just trying to prepare ourselves for the season. And in the past few years, we were just trying to get a good baseline on this boat. So we really weren't too worried about,
spares,
second, third parts and pieces. Now that IHRA stepped into it and doing all this, we're trying to gear up and at least, not be behind the curve on it, and just try to stay up on everything. So again, I mean, that the Top Fuel stuff and everything that the Top Fuel boats have going on, it's there's going to be some growing pains, not only with IHRA, but the racers themselves, as far as getting all the boats together. I mean, Top Fuel, other than Mike Robbins and Nitro Nuts and Liquid Voodoo, I mean, those are like the only boats that had really been running in the last little while. I know Sean Reed has Speed Sport. Kirkland and Marty Logan are teamed up with that deal. They're going to campaign it, from what I've been told, full season. Nitro Nuts, Mike Robbins, and those guys, they're going to be full season. And then I know Daryl picked up the Liquid Voodoo boat, I think, which was Todd Haas and David Carroll. So that's supposed to be campaigned this year. So I know of 3 of them for sure. There's some other outliers out there, West Coast guys. Not sure I haven't really talked to them too much to know what they're running or what's happening. But, I think you've got at least 2 to 3 boats that'll be at most of the races for Top Fuel. And again, I mean, on the top alcohol side, there's even some guys stepping up. Again, there's 2 or 3 guys that said they want to put A Fuel stuff together. There's some a couple other top alcohol guys that might come out and run, so we could get, I think most of the races this year we had anywhere from 6 to 8 top alcohol boats, which is a real field for us. So, hopefully this is something that, between the TV side and the funding side of it, hopefully it's enough to pull some guys out and try to get some full fields. I'm not 100% clear yet. We just got the rule book recently. I'm not 100% sure of, originally they talked about being only an 8-boat field for Top Fuel and top alcohol, and then I think 16 boat field for like Pro Mod, Pro Outlaw. I'm not 100% sure if that was something that they're sticking with or not, but that's something. I mean, when we ran ARCA, of course, they only picked, I think it was the top 32, 34 cars. So we've had to race our way in before. This is something that drag boats hasn't seen before. So if they stick with it, I think it'll be interesting to see how some of the racers perceive it, because they've always just started however many boats showed up. This was you go home and qualifying. So I think it'll put a little change and twist on the drag boat side of it. It's going to be curious what racers think and and how it ends up shaking out as far as the racer's perspective goes. So again, it's there's some pretty big changes here and there. So we'll see how it how it shakes up and who likes it and who doesn't. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't think about. Well, I wonder if the first thing that comes to mind on that, if they set the field sizes, are those also ran guys? You think that's going to deter some of those guys? Because there's probably some guys that just go, look, I'm going to go run laps. I know I'm not going to be competitive. Do you think it would deter a guy like that?
Um, it I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, here's what I could see happening. Um, One, if you're not like we're based out of Georgia, most of our races are going to be Texas and the Midwest, right? So for us, we're going to run full time. But if you get maybe some of the sportsman guys, you know, and they're only starting 16 boats, what what I would be a little worried about. I mean, I see some of the classes you might have 20, 24 boats maybe. The only thing that I could see happening is, you know, if a guy's from, you know, call it New York, right, and there's a race in Texas. I mean, if he misses and the first race he doesn't make the show, he has really no incentive to go around the full schedule anymore. It's not going to be a thing that pushes him to go to the next race.
Mm.
I could see that happening for their sportsman classes. I think most of your pro guys are going to go full season, even if, you know, Pro Outlaw gets 18 boats and 2 guys go home. I think most of those guys would show back up, but some of them that may not run full time might not, you know, and then they may hit the end of the year race, you know. So I think you may see a mid season as far as pro count goes.
Yeah.
But then, you know, it's never happened before, so this is just speculation, right? I mean, who knows? It could be an awesome thing. People love it. I kind of get the point of it. You know, it kind of curtails some of the some of the first, you know, and you got to do something to keep it in line with helping, you know, everybody get to the track, because I think they were going to do first round. If you make it into the deal, there was going to be some kind of assistance funding what it was per se per class, but that was going to be cool. That helps all the teams too. So we'll just have to see how who likes it and who doesn't. You know, I mean, there's already been, and as you've seen on all of it, there's been some people that like some of this stuff and some people that don't. And again, I mean, time is of the deal that's going to tell the truth on all this. So
right. I can't see him ever, with the history we've had in the last few years, I can't see him keeping a boat on the trailer when you got fans there, and I can't see that happening.
Yeah, well, I think you're going to see more people that just maybe don't show up is going to be the bigger thing versus, you know, if that does. Again, I'm not sure. I've heard a couple things that they've posted rulebook wise are changing already anyway. You know, and again, they've had some personnel changes, and it's not to anybody's fault, I think. But you know, we haven't really had a set of rules come out until a week or two ago, maybe ago. And you know, I mean, we're 2 months from the first race, so you know, getting some of the getting helmets and getting some of the parts and pieces quick enough on some of these changes. I think they're going to be a little lenient on some of it, but you know, I think that's why they're changing some of their initial rules. I think they would have liked to applied them, and you know, if it was back in October, it wouldn't be a big deal to get all the changes done and handled in time. But being 2 months before, some of the racers and teams aren't going to be able to get some of the things that they're wanting changed fast enough. So
are some of the biggest changes? It sounds like maybe there's safety stuff.
Yeah, there's some safety stuff in there. There's some index changes. There's some class changes. I and even in top alcohol, there was talk of it adding another nitro nostalgia kind of boat. There was somebody supposedly putting together a like nostalgia single mag nitro boat that they were going to try top alcohol as well. They asked me about it, and I mean, I'm okay with it. The more boats, the merrier. But at the end of the day, like I told them, I'm like, I'm also a nitro boat that just came into the class. I'm like, so I'm not sure I'm the best guy you guys should be asking. Probably should ask the alcohol guys if they want it or not. So you know, there's supposedly one of those deals. So there's some class changes as well as safety changes. Again, I don't know if this other boat that's nostalgia boat's gonna. I don't know who it is or what I haven't seen pictures of the boat or anything else, but that's going to be a change in top alcohol, you know, and some of the index changes that they were doing. You know, at one time they were going to combine Pro Mod and Pro Outlaw into one class.
Mm.
And that would be a big upset, as far as that class would have been huge,
Mm-hmm.
which would be pretty cool to see. But the index, I don't think they could really get the both of them on. Of course, the pro outlaw guys don't want to slow down, and the pro mod guys, they're like, I don't think we can go that fast. So it was one of those back and forth. I don't think they could come up with a good common ground between the two classes to come up on something. So they have their own classes individually again this year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a bunch of small other changes and safety changes. So again, I don't know what they're going to enforce / keep, for 26, being that it's so close to. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, 2 months is not a lot of time. I mean, ever since COVID, as most of anybody knows, getting some parts and pieces and things quick enough just isn't really a thing that that you could do like in 2019.
Right. I
So
know when you've talked about the spare boats, you talk about, I'm like, yeah, I kind of forget about that from a racer standpoint. I know there was a couple of years ago, there was a offshore guy that crashed a boat, and I was talking to him, and he's like, yeah, we literally had to buy a boat from overseas because we couldn't get a replacement. And you forget about that. Like, oh yeah, it takes like a year to build one of those boats. I forgot about that. It's not like the old days where you got, whatever to sail, or all these guys building parts, and you can just call them up and get stuff,
yeah, well, and that's kind of part of the problem. And some of the guys that were building it, they've either retired, passed away. That's kind of been a thing. We've got a gentleman, Dave Finnick, out of Ohio. He just built 2 sets of W drives for us.
Mm.
Any more W drive stuff? I mean, we've had one, and I picked that up from Kirkland. I think David Kirkland had it, if I'm not mistaken. He took it out of another boat. So, it's kind of just searching, like, does anybody know where one of these is? And that's just kind of the deal right now. So we're trying to, again, trying to set it up to where we can get some of these parts ahead of time. The other thing too that a lot of people probably don't know about. I've talked to David Kirkland about it, Roger Way about it. Mike Robbins, a bunch of the guys. Propellers is another deal that you're looking in the Top Fuel side of it. It's two twin props. They talking to David and even Eddie Knox on some of this stuff. They weren't getting a lot of passes out of those props before they failed. Well, you got to balance and match 2 propellers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they start going through that, and there's only a few guys. We get all of our props from Bill Diaz out of Bullhead City area, and he's a one-man shop out there. So I've got 3 sets of props on order right now just to make sure I've got.
Just keep them on order.
Yeah, if something happens, you hit the rocks. there goes a set. And if you happen to throw an ear on one, there goes another set. So it's one of those things where it's just the parts nutrition is going to be a big part of, I think, the Top Fuel side. Not so much the motor side of it. I don't think any of that's going to be a big deal, but it's just going to be the running gear is going to be the main issue, I think, for 2026 for all the us a little bit on some parts, and even especially the Top Fuel guys. So we'll just have to. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how part nutrition plays out for the season.
Yeah. Guys, something like, again, the average guy you never see that. You never think about that.
Right. And, probably a lot of people think, oh, well, they get these parts, they can get them off the shelf. All this stuff is all custom made.
Mm-hmm.
It's all, the Fulkerson drives. I don't know who, we've never run any of those. Our stuff's a Roger Way designed W drive. So it's a separate case, but nobody was making the gears anymore. No more cases were being made. So Dave up in Ohio that helped us out, DEI, he reverse engineered some of that and hooked us up, and got 2 new W drives, and we're a little short on V drive parts, and because the gears that we're running too is the other thing. The gears are oddball gears that, I don't think Cassell's made some of these gears in quite some time. So it's just not a lot of parts. So
No.
there's going to be a lot of different things that, funding, between a little bit of funding from Top Fuel and Top Alcohol side. I think you're going to see parts nutrition to be a big key in 26. Some of the funding stuff in 26, depending on who runs what. And it's going to depend too. If you got a team does really good out of the gate that was only planning on running 1 or 2 races, they may end up running full season. So we'll just have to see how it plays out and what shakes up. But it's definitely going to be interesting on who does what, and and how it shakes out for the season. So
yes, absolutely. All those factors. It should be. It's certainly setting off to be probably one of the makings for one of the most interesting seasons we've had in quite some time. So,
yep, sure, and hopefully, I know the fans love Top Fuel, so having that come back, I think they're going to enjoy that. And we've tried to keep some of at all the races, at least for our deal, having the A Fuel boat's kind of cool, so at least they can smell some nitro. It wasn't back, but now that it's coming back, it should be pretty cool and give the fans something to watch.
Yeah, awesome.
On a side note too, I had another interview the other day with a completely different, because we ran stock cars for a while.
Sure.
So this is another different avenue. If it pans out, we'll see what happens. But it's back to land stuff. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think I possibly have another deal coming up later this year. If I make it into it, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so we got a lot of
Cool.
things in the works of happening.
That's cool. Well, you're young, you get a lot of energy. Now's the time to do that. So
yeah. Well,
I can't remember. Were you getting married, or did you get married, or?
Yep, I did get married.
Oh,
so,
nice.
God, it was actually at St. Angelo at the racetrack. It's actually the couple that introduced us because we met at the racetrack. So
of course,
the couple that introduced us, and we went to their they have a lake house over there on Lake Nasworthy. So we went over there and got married at the racetrack this year, and then we did like a big celebration down at the DR Dominican.
Nice.
Beginning of February.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it was a good time.
Congrats. Yeah. You find a girl that's going to put up with this crap. You gotta grab on.
Yeah, she likes it. She does. I think we talked about it before. She does all data entry, all that kind of stuff. And
okay.
She's really, really super analytical, and she loves numbers and data. So
nice. Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think the only time I ever had, I think when mid-season, towards the beginning of the season, mid-season this year, I was trying to figure a bunch of stuff out, and we were kind of getting lost. And man, I stared at graphs and data and stuff for so long, just comparing things. And she was just like, I don't care if you look at it. I don't know. It was like 1:30 in the morning, and I'm in bed just looking on the computer. She's like, I don't care if you look at it, but can you turn the screen brightness down or something? I can do that.
And when you're done looking at it, if you want me to come figure it out, I'll figure it out.
Yeah. I'm like, I go over her. I'm like, hey, can you look at this, and this? And she got really into the fuel tech stuff, and they have a lot of videos, things online. And I mean, she's really good. Like if you give her a little bit of info on it, she'll be like, and so she'll reset everything up. Then I'm like, now I don't know where all my stuff. I don't know how. She's like, yeah, like this, and we compare it a lot easier. I'm like, oh, okay, good to know. Well, you show me how to look at this. It'd be perfect.
Yeah. Dang, man, it sounds like a match made in heaven, huh?
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. It works out.
Well, I had Mike Finnegan on a while ago, and we were talking about dyno, and he was talking about like dyno stuff like people don't realize, like this and that. And it was really good. I'm like, oh, that'd be a really cool story, especially from a marine engine aspect. So basically, like I think we all kind of know why you would want to dyno an engine, the good part about it, other than just getting that dyno slip. But I would love to talk about the challenges from a marine engine perspective, like what, from an exhaust standpoint and whatever. So
the other one too, that a bunch of stuff, it does a ton of stuff is, which I don't know if you know him or, I mean, I'm friends with him, but Tyler Crockett.
I forgot about that guy. Yeah. You talk to him very often?
I do. Yeah. Every time we go to PRI, we always see him and run into each other.
Oh, cool.
He's a trip. But yeah, he and I talked too about a bunch of stuff. Like you can't get some of the MEFI 4 stuff anymore. So like that kind of thing. So, fuel tech has been really, really good. I actually had, and in the marine industry in general, you just can't get, wiring harnesses go obsolete. Volvo doesn't make, and Mercury, they don't make things anymore. So there's a lot of things that, people don't want to change a whole entire EFI system. So there's a lot of things that, we've been able to adapt fuel tech to a lot of different things now on marine stuff. They've got it's funny because you talk to fuel tech and now I get their 550 lights because it's just the ECU. And they're like, why don't you get the dash? And I'm like, because I don't need the dash. I'm like, everybody already has gauges in their boat,
Right.
But where like we just had a ski boat. It was like a 2012, I think. Well, the harness was all corroded, all that kind of stuff. Well, guess what? Can't get the harness anymore. Can't get any of the parts for it anymore. So I was like, well, I can fab it over with Fuel Tech, and we can use the display as the gauge and everything. So we just did that. It's just kind of, it's been nice because it's just inputs and outputs and it doesn't care what all of it is. So you can set it up however you want. There's just been some nice things, especially from marine side, that's been really cool. And Crockett and I have talked about it. And I'm trying to get like some harnesses pre-made up. I've been making all of our own here, but having something like that we could a little bit more of, because the Mephi stuff, I mean, that's some old technology. I mean, it's been so, and the nice part is on sometimes when you put them in gear and do some of the reversion issues and those kind of things, Merc Cruiser's had it for a long time where they've got the neutral gear position selector off the shifters. Well, it takes nothing to take the Fuel Tech into that and basically make it to where you can change the load and going in and out of gear, have the reversion problems where they lug the motor down, do some of those things. So all of the stuff is there for it. It's just
wow
and do some of this. So it's nice that Fuel Tech's only 15 minutes up the road from here. But yeah, I mean, it's been so far in the last 6 months, I mean, we've had a lot of units go through here. So we're trying to pick up more of that and more of it and play with it on the dyno. But, the other thing about dyno numbers and stuff that's interesting is you've got from dyno to dyno is interesting.
Oh, sure.
I see so many numbers that I'm like, this is, I don't fluff numbers. We try to get exact. The cool part about, especially a jet boat is a dyno. That's all it is a big dyno. If you can take this impeller and spin it this many RPM, it's pretty much, of course, there's other things that go into it on like the bottom of the boat shoe, that kind of stuff that change. But we can take our motors off of our dyno, put them in a jet boat, and it's
Same
running
numbers.
the RPM that it's supposed to run, right? Or at least really close to it. It's funny because the torque numbers on dynos are more raw numbers, right? So people get into this horsepower game, and I see it a lot of times, and I don't believe it. But they get into this horsepower game where it's making peak torque at 5 grand, and it's making peak horsepower at 6,500, and you've got like a 200 or 300 split. And I'm like, man, I guarantee you if I put that on my dyno, it's not going to show that.
Yeah.
But horsepower is a calculated number, right? So it's your torque number, and then it's the RPM and the acceleration rate, right? So that's how it's a calculated number. So it's not exactly a dyno is just a tool, right? At the end of the day, it's not the be all end all. People get wrapped up in time slips, but it's really, for us, it's a tuning tool. It's nice to get it tuned in. I mean, people get wrapped on numbers all the time. I mean, just about everything that I see is normally on horsepower. Torque, they get close. Horsepower is normally off. And I mean, it's just because you can manipulate it, right? So it's just interesting to see it. And, people don't realize on boat motors, especially, you put those together, they're going, your car only spins, it lives below 2,000. It lives there. Life, it's there. Right. So other than going uphill, downshifting, getting on the gas, I mean, your boat lives at 3,500 to 5 grand all the time. Right. So your hours there it's, if you do that in quarter mile passes, it's a lot. I mean, they take some abuse that it is the hardest. I mean, talk to any engine builder. It is the way you've got to set them up and tune them and everything else is 180 different than a car. You can't get away with so much more different tuning styles on the car than I can, in a boat. So I don't know. It's an interesting game and a difference and a variance between the two, so just to play with it. It's cool. You talk to, like Crockett, and you talk to, Teague and some of those guys, and everybody has the same thing. And then the parts quality is another thing that's been horrendous in the last, 5 years trying to get.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Fighting it. You'll get parts in since really COVID, it seems like it's either you've got a materials problem, you have a QC problem because there's different people at these companies now. What in our realm, what used to be a middle of the road part is now not. It's now you either have to use the top of the line parts or nothing.
Mm.
I mean,
Mm.
because the QC has gone way down and just I don't know. It's a combination of a lot of different things. The materials that they're using, and it's when you put a motor together and you're doing some of this stuff. If you have a parts failure out of something, they're like, "Well, we'll send you another set
Yeah,
of lift."
right. Right.
I'm
Right.
not putting that back in. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
I wasn't born yesterday, but
Right.
I could fall for that deal. But it's just the parts deal, and then when you get some of the parts in, and everybody's dealing with it. I mean, it rings out through everybody that I talk to. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yet if you find a company that makes really good stuff, my gosh, one,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be up, so you better pre-order. And the other thing is you're going to have to wait a little bit to get it because normally they are backed up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's just, and everybody's seen it in the industry from an outside perspective. I mean, look at how many people have and companies have been bought out by a conglomerate of some kind.
Yeah, that's what, when you said that, that's what exactly, and you don't think about that. You're like, oh my God, in the last, probably before COVID, it kind of started, not
Yeah.
too much before COVID, but yeah, I mean, oh my God, Holly bought 100, I mean, whatever, these guys, and you're right. That's what happens when we all know when the investment guys come in, the first thing they care about is numbers. So their high dollar guys get gone and they have no concern for tribal knowledge or, I didn't figure out. So now if we're into years of this, probably close to 10 years of this now,
Yeah.
I never thought about that. That's
your guys that knew the deal and knew what to do. Half of them are gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's run by other people. And then, I forgot who I talked to the other day, but I ordered a part from them. And anyway, I ordered the part from them. It got here and I'm like, hey, this thing is way out in left field. And I don't remember. I kind of remember what it was, but I won't get into names or details. But I was like, man, this thing's way out in left field, And I mean, they were great to deal with, but they're like, oh yeah, we don't. This version of this part runs through a assembly line process. It's not a tested like we test the other product. And I'm like, but we've been ordering these for years. I'm like, you guys should really say something about it. And I'm like, and again, it goes back to the consumer at the end of the day, because one, it takes us more time to go through it as the, assemblers and people putting the things together. So at the end of the day, it costs us more time and the customer more time. If I've got to mess with something, it's just, the whole thing it gets aggravating. And I mean, and I'm sure you've even seen it. How many people have actually closed shop in the last 5 years has been a ton. And a lot of it's because of parts. And a lot of it's because, I mean, if you can't get parts, the people, some of the customers get mad about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, one of the things that a lot, some customers understand it and some don't, right? But, you get into performance parts and performance in general, the more horsepower you make, the shorter it lasts. And that's just a common, I mean, you go from top fuel down. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
guys, like even in our drag boat stuff, I mean, the guys that run stock eliminator, they can run those boats for 7 years, not a problem. Top fuel, you make one lap and you go through it, right? So horsepower is a correlation with that. But, just to get the parts and not have to deal with some of this stuff is, it's just interesting to see the changing tides and of things I mean, there's a lot of people that just don't in these companies don't understand, they just don't know what they don't know. Right. And the other part of it too, is the metals that we're getting too are different. You can have the same company. I mean, I've talked to a couple companies and they're like, well, we didn't know they changed the glue and we didn't know where they changed this material or whatever. It changes everything. Right. So not only do we have to be really good on what we do as far as putting things together, building, dynoing, tuning, but on top of that, we also now have to be worried about the parts that we're getting on some of this stuff on top of putting it together, doing everything else. So it's a crazy time for engine building, machining, tuning, rigging of any vehicle, whether even boat, car, it doesn't matter. It's across the industry. It's the same, So
I hadn't realized about the quality issues. Obviously availability issues still continue to be out there. And I have a brother that's had a hot rod shop for quite a year, and my dad had a boat shop. And, that's one of those things where, a warranty on an aftermarket product it sucks because it's really on you. I mean, it's kind of on you. The it's not on the customer. And it's like, I can't charge this guy for the 3 hours. I had to fuck around with this crappy part. Right. And I know from selling parts, like, it kind of sucks, but you don't warranty guys' labor because you never know what kind of guy's installing the thing. Right. So, it falls on the shop, and it really is kind of shitty.
Yeah. It just gets difficult. And I mean, again, at the end of the day, we can only do so much we don't make X, Y, and Z parts, and a lot of times too on the other side. And I get where, sometimes you talk to manufacturer on some of this stuff, and, well, they don't know how this was, or this was, or this was, and while they, let's use rocker arms, for example. Yeah. Okay. Rocker arm, but was the valve set right? Was the guide straight? There's a lot of other things that can also lead to rocker arm failure. So, I mean, you just have a bunch of different things that mesh together, but at the end of the day, it's, we didn't have these problems 10 years ago. Right. And these problems have just, really been recent. Really, it's written about the last 5 years, but it's not like it's a problem that you can't overcome. It's just the thing that you just have to learn it as far as the shop goes. It just changes your outlook and, what parts you may or may not use. So it's just, when companies change and conglomerates buy out, as everybody knows, it's just a cost thing at the end of the day. That's all they look at, bottom dollar. So it makes things a little bit difficult. That's all. But, you kind of, another company starts up normally, and you just have to change direction. So, but in the end, it's, the dynoing and the other stuff is really, what we kind of started talking about. It's just a tuning tool. It's something that, really helps out and just kind of gets you a baseline at the end of the day before you put it in the vehicle. And, people get too much wrapped up, I think, a lot of times in the numbers and at that slip, I mean, we had to go out there, and there's gains and all kinds of stuff you could play with and fake. I mean, there's so many.
Yeah. I think the benefits of dynoing an engine, I think the real benefits, like what you've described, I think people aren't as aware of that. And I think Correct. they go into it with, I just want a big number. I just want to show my buddies I got the big number. For a lot of guys that would maybe never consider running something on a dyno, you might, for especially the investment you're putting into a motor now, because because one thing we didn't talk about on top of this issue with availability and reliability is the cost it's gone up unbelievable. Like, you can't even fathom the increases over the last 5-6 years.
Yeah. I mean, it's every time you turn around, there was a 10-15 increase. I mean, like, engine blocks is one of the things. I mean, every time we turn around, it's like every new year, it's a 10 or 15% increase, and you're like, what are you going to do? I mean, there's only X amount of places that are doing it. And at the end of the day, they really only come out of a couple foundries. Right. So it's interesting to watch the deal. I mean, so it's funny on one hand, because you've got some of the quality on some of the stuff isn't there, but the price is still going up, and then the availability is still not getting a whole lot better. Right. So, it's an interesting conundrum.
Yeah. Interesting. Yes. Maybe not the word for it, but
yeah.
Well, hey man, I won't keep you too much longer. I'm sure you got a bunch of stuff on the dyno and in the shop to get worked on. And, we don't want your dad to get too grumpy today. So
yeah, he's pretty crackable.
So you can follow Tyler, Tyler Speer Racer on all the social platforms, and he does some really good stuff. Also, tylerspeer.com is his website. And don't forget, I think we mentioned it last time, he's got some really cool how-to or basic learn about drag boat racing videos. So go check those out. They're pretty cool. So
I appreciate it. Yep. Just drag boat 101 on YouTube.
There we go. All right, man. Well, thanks, Ed. Congratulations on everything from last year, finishing up in with a good win, and then good luck this year. So we'll be keeping our eyes on you.
Sounds good. I appreciate it, Joe. Thanks for the time.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Powerboat Talk. If you like what you've heard, please head over to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. For more Powerboat Talk, follow us on Facebook or Instagram, or visit our website at powerboattalk.com.